Good morning, good morning. Welcome everyone to Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining us today. Hope your day is going well. I want to know, first off, I'm in Salt Lake City, and over the last few days, we got a lot of snow comparatively in a relatively short time. So I want to know in the comments, post where you're at and how much snow you got this week. Like I said, we got about 10, 12 inches roughly. So where are you at and how much snow did you get this week? So put that in the comments below. Excuse me. So a lot of great things coming up as always. Today's episode is brought to you by Ingersoll Enterprises, ingersollenterprises.com. A lot of great things going on. One of which is a money mindset dream big workshop we've got coming up March 18. So you'll find all of that at ingersollenterprises.com/events. So register for that. I'd love to have you on. Money mindset, dream big. Excuse me. Excuse me. So today I'm grateful for the guest we have on. She's a mindset life gratitude coach based in Central Florida. Hey, I was just there. She empowers midlife women to live their best by saying bon voyage to the shackles in their mind. Isn't that so true? And you can't see it because it's just above where the camera is, but it says we can't escape from a prison if we don't know we're in one. But I'm looking forward to jumping into that. She's also a contributing author to 5 Amazon best-selling books, the creator of a new unique program, Vision for Your Life. Oh, we all need that. Where are we going? What's our vision for our life? Where she combines a vision board and the wheel of life, color coding the wheel of life. She was a top finalist in the Fab Over 40 contest. Her signature program, the 5x5 formula to a rock solid day, has been taught to people from 9 countries. That's awesome. There are 5 activities you can do in the morning to start your day off strong. Absolutely. She's also the owner of Rock Solid Podcast Guest Coaching, where she uses her expertise of being a frequent international podcast guest to help others get their story out by being interviewed on podcasts. So without further ado, welcome, Bonnie.
Hi, Kenny. I'm happy. Like you said, I live in Central Florida, so I have had no snow over here. And it sounds like you guys are having a lot of fun in the snow over there in Utah. So have fun out there with that.
So yeah, it was just we heard the storm warning going to be a big storm, and we've heard that before, and we get like an inch, which we're
Right.
so grateful for. But then it kept going and going and going, and we look out the next morning, and there's 8 to 12 inches on the ground in our front yard. So
Wow. Crazy. Crazy.
yeah, I was just in Miami with my family last week, and total different ballparks there as far as weather goes.
Yeah, most definitely. If it's 60 degrees in Florida, they say it's cold. So that's like a lot of people are like, oh, I wish it was 60 degrees over here.
Oh man. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you jumping on. I'm excited to talk about mindset and vision of our life, vision boards. What got you started in mindset, and um I like the color wheel of life and the wheel of life. How you combine those. Let's start with that.
Right. Well, my program Vision for Your Life, what I do is I combine a vision board and the Wheel of Life, and I color code the Wheel of Life. And the Wheel of Life, there's 8 different sections, and they ask you questions about how you feel, and you rank them, like family, your job, personal development, fun, things like that. And the way that I do that is I rank it on a scale of 0 to 100. And if you rank it 20% or below, I color code that red. If you rank it 80% or above, I color code that yellow, green. And if you color code it between 20% and 80%, I color code that yellow. And then when you're done with that, you can actually see the different colors and how many how many reds you have that you need to work on, how many greens you have that you need to that are really good, and you're satisfied with that. And then I take that, and our next session is we do a vision board. So if there's anything that you want to work on, like maybe you have a bad relationship with your family, so you might be putting stuff over there about you want to improve your relationship with your family, or something is fun that you want to keep doing. I did one recently, and the guy wanted to make sure that he went out on over this coming summer. He wants to make sure he goes like jet skiing and waterboarding and canoeing and stuff. So he got some pictures from people doing like stand up paddleboarding and canoeing, and he put that on his vision board. So then when you get up every day, you look at the vision board, like, what I'm doing today, getting me to this life that I want to live, and am I the stuff I'm not as happy with? Am I working to make that better? Am I working to if my health isn't good, am I working to exercise more, eat more properly, things like that.
I love it, and narrowing down the specific areas, because if you think of life, it's easy to get overwhelmed because you got all these different areas of life, and then you start getting into the work life balance and all that stuff, and it just can easily overwhelm you if you let it. So I love how you can color code different areas, and so it's a visual because I'm very visual, and I know that helps me and as many others. And you can obviously see behind me. I always do that.
Right,
I've got one of my multiple vision boards sitting right here with some of the things I work on.
right.
One of the questions that I get a lot is, or some of the stumble is, how often do you go through that exercise?
Well, there's really not a set answer for that. Some people do a vision board every year. You can do it every 3 months because your plans always change. You just what you want to do today, you might something might happen and you want to switch next week. So it's really generally just every 3 months, and just see if there's something different that you want to do. For if you want to concentrate more on on one section more the next time around than you did this time around, you can do that. So usually I say every at least 3 to 4, maybe 6 months, do a new vision board.
I love that. As we've been brought up and grown up with the once a year and the New Year's resolution, and I'm all for that. But to the extent that that's not the only time you review your goals and what you're working on, and doing your will of life. I look at my goals multiple times a day, and I tweak them and stuff. Sometimes multiple times a week if necessary, or I add details to them, and so I love that you're one of the people giving permission to make changes as you need. It's not set in stone, it's not one and done, it's not somebody else's rules for your life. As far as that goes, it address it as often as you need, change it, tweak it, even if you're just looking at it just to make sure you're still on course. Okay, yep, still the same, we're on track, let's keep going with it. If there's no changes needed, then there's no changes needed. But looking at it frequently is a huge thing. Then, you know, giving yourself permission to tweak it. A lot of times we have that unspoken restriction that we think we're breaking the rules. We're going to get in trouble if we change our goals more than once a year.
Oh, no, definitely. You can change your rules and your goals as often as you want. I mean, something happened earlier this week, and I'm like, hey, maybe I'm going to change one of the bigger goals I had later on and stuff. So you can change your goals as often as you want. It's your life, it's your business, and you do what's right for you at that point in time. And maybe you'll switch it back, have the same goals again, but maybe you just keep on changing, having the goals that you think is going to help you to live your best life.
Absolutely, 100%. Another thing I really loved in your intro was removing the shackles in your mind. I love that. How do we even recognize that we have shackles in our mind? How do you recognize that?
Yes, well, what I help people do is to say bon voyage to shackles in their mind so they can live their best life. Because there's, a lot of people that maybe something happened when you were growing up. Somebody said you're too much, you're too this, you're too that. And now you're getting older and you don't want to like put yourself out there, so to speak, and do something and just live with the life you want to live. So if you keep seeing that you have like a resistance to doing something, like if you're always afraid to post about what you really feel like, or what your real big goals are, then that's something that could have happened. That's something subconscious in your mind that could have happened a long time ago. So you need to think down about it. And I tell people as a life coach, kind of like a 2-year old asking a lot of questions. Well, why? Well, why? Because it's like peeling the onion. Well, why do you feel like that? What happened going on that makes you not want to do something? And sometimes it's just resistance. And it's like, hey, just do it. Go for it. The worst that can happen is nothing. And the best that can happen is something good's going to happen. So just go out there and do it. And if people laugh at you, that's fine. But you're going to find a lot of people really supportive of you when you really want to go out and make a success of yourself happy. And just, as much as possible, be around those people that want to help you, support you, and uplift you and empower you. And if somebody wants to be a Debbie Downer, well, they're not going to be in your life very long. So when you start finding resistance on what it is you really want to do, then that's something in the subconscious, and that's something that we have to think about and peel the onion and go back. Something could have happened when you're 5 years old, and now that you're 60, it's just now coming to the surface. So you want to start just living your own life. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, immoral, anything like that, you can live your own life and let other people live their life, and you do what makes you happy, and let other people do what makes them happy. That's pretty much my philosophy in general.
Yeah, and it makes me think of a couple sayings, and I'm kind of going to butcher them. You're so worried about what others are thinking, when in reality they're worried about what you're thinking about them.
Right.
and and then who cares what they're
Right.
thinking? And 5 minutes, or even if you post something on social media and people talk about it for a month of embarrassment is
Yeah.
far better than 5 years of regret or being stuck.
Right. Definitely. You don't want to get stuck. And I liken some stuff as you're treading water, and you're trying to get to an island, and you're swimming to the island, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get there. I'm never gonna get there. And suddenly you try, and you're like, oh my gosh, the water was like 6 inches deep. I could have stood up a long time ago. I'm safe. I'm safe and I'm okay, and I'm where I need to be. So yeah, don't worry about, like you said, people are so busy worried about themselves and stuff like that, and they're not paying attention to you, and they're doing their own thing. So you do your thing, they do their thing, and hopefully everybody's gonna get along in the end and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I've learned and had to accept and utilize to my advantages is haters are a sign of you're on the right track. You're on your right track.
Right.
You get a bunch of naysayers and stuff. This will never work. You're on the right track. You just keep plugging forward, and you're like, watch me, kind of thing. Use it as fuel to keep doing what you're doing. And I just had a thought, but I lost it, but it'll come back to me. But yeah, I love your saying, the bon voyage, and to the shackles in your mind. And there's a quote by Bob Proctor that says, "You can't escape from a prison if you don't know you're in one." And that is so true. Oh yeah, it was. I remember the thought now. It was a story I heard about a lady cooking a ham, and she cut the ends off the ham before she put it in her pan,
Hmm.
and she wondered why she cut the ends off the ham. She didn't know why, whatever. She just always did it. That's how her mom did it. So she called her mom and asked her, "Why do we cut the ends off the ham?" "I don't know. Ask grandma." Calls her grandma. "Why do you cut the ends off the ham?" "Oh, back when I was first married, it wouldn't fit in the pan I had, so I cut the ends off.
Hmm.
2, 3, 4 generations later, they're doing the same thing, and the reason is not applicable anymore.
Right.
How often are we letting those reasons way back here stop us from moving forward or whatever? It's so many times we're still using the VCR and the Walkman,
Yes.
metaphorically.
Yes.
They were great in their time and stuff, and a lot of the principles, the money mindset and the mindset in general, and our goals and everything, those principles were great at the time because that's what worked, but a lot of them don't apply anymore, and a lot of them, especially to your life, not not everybody's life is going to fit in all the category, or in one size fits all. So I love how you started with that. Let's move on. How do you choose your passion? First off, how do you define passion? And then how do you know what passion is for you?
Well, I pretty much define passion as when you're doing something, does it make you happy? Does it light you up? When you think about it, does it make you happy? And if you're doing stuff that is constantly not making you happy, you need to go do something different and find your passion. Is your passion in helping others? Is your passion in reading? Is your passion in coaching? Is your passion in singing? What's your passion? What can you talk a lot about? People always, I always see these questions on Facebook. What can you get on a stage and talk, in front of people for 30 minutes without any preparation? And what you write down is pretty much your passion. There's certain things I could just start talking about with certain authors and books, and wrestling, and mindset and personal development, and visions, and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, that's my passion. That's stuff that I really like. So you just have to kind of dig deep and think about, what lights me up. What do I enjoy doing? What when I do stuff, other people give me good feedback on. So that's basically, my definition of finding your passion.
Love it. And that is so true. What lights you up? What fills your cup?
Right.
Because a lot of times we'll do things to make others happy, and making others happy could be a good thing, but if it doesn't light us up, it's not serving us.
Right.
Of course, not to imply selfishness, but
Right.
also we do it for money, and that's not always a driving factor. It doesn't always fill us. How many people go to work and they're miserable?
Right.
Or you often hear of people that are struggling financially, but they're happy mentally and emotionally. Their cup is filled.
Right.
But then on the flip side, there's billionaires that are miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So finding your passion, if you can find and live your passion, then your cup is full. And in my book, that's more important than financial success on its own.
Definitely. I get questions all the time about how much money do I want to make per month? And people are like, well, if you follow this program here, I can get you to $10,000 a month, and this and that and the other. And it's like, obviously, yes, money is important. You need to have it to live, to have a roof over your head, to have to eat, to be able to travel. However, I think the emphasis should be on how many people can you serve. Yes, you can have a money goal, but then flip that around and say, if your money goal is $5,000 a month and you have a $1,000 a month program, $1,000 program, say, I want to serve 5 people, and put that into a sentence. I want to help 5 people to do such and such so that they can do such and such. And then once you serve those 5 people, you'll reach your money goal. But if you always have a money goal and it's always, I need to make $10,000 a month, I'm going to, $50,000 in a year and stuff like that. Like you said, money doesn't always buy happiness, and it does get you a better seat on a plane and a nicer hotel, that's for sure, and better food to eat. But when we fly on a plane to England and stuff, I'm in the back and you're in the front, you were still getting England at the same time. So, you might have to bigger seat and that stuff, but we're still getting there at the same time. So it's not always money. And I have this conversation with people on a regular basis. And just, do what lights you up. And once you find enough people that you can help that lights you up, then the money's going to come. Just don't have money always, always, always at the forefront. I need to make this much money by this amount of time. That's too much pressure. Just say, I want to help this amount of people in this amount of time. And that's a lot less pressure.
Yeah. And going back to, everybody, what's your definition of success? Because Bonnie's definition of success is different than Kenny's definition of
Right.
success, is different than so and so and so and so, So what's your definition of success? And I think we put too much value on money because
Right.
we put it on this high pedestal and on like the holy grail kind of thing. And to your point, money, like you said, money is important and stuff, but it's a tool. What are we using that tool for? If you're a mechanic, you use ratchets and screwdrivers and things like that. Those are your tools. Or if you're an accountant, you need computers and software and whatever those tools are. Money's a tool.
Right.
What are you using that tool for? Why do you want that money?
Right.
I just went on a cruise, and the fun and the experience and the family time on that cruise was more important than the money I paid for it.
Right.
And like I've got a bunch of books right here on my shelf. The value I get out of those books and the self-development and then being able to serve others far outweighs the money I paid for those books. So why do you want that money? And being able to not value money so much. Yes, it's important, but what are you using that's more important than the money? What are you doing to fill your cup, to live your passion, and fulfill your purpose? So I love that. So many times we put way too much emphasis on the money. So I love how you brought that up. And serving others, what impact can you make for others? I know that's one of my purposes, passions. That's why I started the show, is to give others maybe some nuggets and stuff and platform to share their story as well, and hopefully it lands, well, not hopefully, but I know it'll land in the right ears at the right time. Someone needs to, oh yes, I needed that, and then the connections, meeting the people that I've met
Oh yeah.
far outweighs the money I've put into the programs and the education and the equipment and all that stuff and the headache of trying to learn everything.
Yes.
But
Definitely.
knowing all these different people that I probably would have never met otherwise.
Right. Definitely. The connections are really good, and knowing who to introduce to each other is always good too. And just, like you said, you got to fill your own cup, and then you can help others. How much service can I be to others, and helping others that are not as fortunate as you? Just because somebody doesn't have as much money as you, doesn't have as big of a house, nice of a car, doesn't make them any less of a person. Because I find, the more that you have, the more problems you have. If you have a really big house, then you got to deal with at the house. So if you have less, sometimes less is more. So
Yeah, um, exactly. Going back to the money and filling your cup and stuff. I've known people live in a very small house, but their family ties and their friendship ties are super strong. They're always doing something together. And I've known people with multiple millions, and they haven't talked to their kids in 10 years.
wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, I love that. And then I think that ties right back into saying bon voyage to the shackles in your mind. There's so many shackles, not just money. What other things? The confidence. If that's another pigeonhole, if you
Mm,
will, is, oh, I'm just a waitress.
mm,
I'm not a doctor. They devalue their service. if they're
Right.
serving others. A lot of times we put doctors and lawyers on a pedestal, and yes, I'm certainly not trying to downplay them or anything, but if I'm getting good service at a restaurant, that's very important. Or the snowplow drivers that cleared my
Right.
streets the other day,
Yes.
or the people that empty the dumpster, the mail personnel. We devalue our positions, our
Right.
titles. We devalue ourselves because of our title.
Right.
And I think we need get beyond that. We're not just a title. You know, I certainly think we deserve the credit we've earned. So if you've gone to school to be a lawyer, a doctor, or anything like that, an architect, certainly kudos to you and stuff. And if you put in the hard work to learn, master your craft, whatever that craft is, I
Yeah.
think that's just as valuable as any other title there is.
Oh yeah.
And so I I love helping people and seeing people not be devalued by their title.
Right.
I'm just a waitress. I'm
Right.
just a street sweeper. You name it. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
That's a big one. You're just a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. Well, that's beyond a full time job. Tell me, for sure. You
I,
know.
I I work my business all day long. I got the easy part of the deal.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
You know, I know many stay-at-home moms, and they deserve so much more credit than they're giving themselves and that they're getting from others.
Right.
But if you're providing value to others, if you're serving others, even with a smile, and if you're helping someone see the silver lining in a cloudy day, that's
Right.
valuable. So release those shackles. Say bon voyage.
Right.
Send them on a one-way trip.
Right.
You know, there's so many shackles and gratitude. I love the word gratitude.
Right.
And the more you're grateful for, the more you have to be grateful for. And it's so true, and I love that. And you put those together, and you start applying those into your life. What those look like for Bonnie and what those look like for Kenny and for whoever, you become unstoppable.
Right.
So I love that you're doing that. So, excuse me.
Well, if can I tell you a really quick story about growing up?
Please do.
Like about my dad and his service. Well, I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida, and we had the Atlanta Braves right nearby, and that's where they Atlanta Braves played their spring training. And our next door neighbor was actually the spring training coordinator. So, and this is way back when like Dale Murphy and Phil Negro were the pitchers there. So I'm dating myself. It's a long time ago. But every spring training, right before it started, my dad was a carpenter. So he would go over to the stadium and he would help make sure and fix up the dugout and the whole stadium, make sure it was ready for the baseball players. And he took me over there and I got to meet some of the baseball players and stuff. And some people might think, oh, he's just a carpenter. He's not doing a whole lot. He's just fixing a door. But when the Atlanta Braves came to play their spring training games there, that was pretty cool because everything was already set up, ready to go for them. So they were very thankful to my dad and to Pete, our next door neighbor and stuff. So it sounds small. Oh, you're just gonna go in and fixing this little thing here, but that was something really big that ended up helping a lot of people because these are professional athletes and they have to have stuff set up a certain way. So my dad made sure that the baseball stadium was set up properly and everything was safe for them. So that's that's really cool. I like talking about that story and stuff. I haven't done a lot, but I do like telling that story with people. People, are, oh my God, that's so cool! I never knew that. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. My next door neighbor growing up was the spring training coordinator for the Atlanta Braves. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it's the unsung heroes that we often don't recognize and
Right.
think about. When you go to a stadium, there's the architects, there's the groundskeeper, there's the painters, there's the plumbers, you know, and I'll tie in with that cruise ship that the plumbing backed up a few years ago, and
Mm,
you know, you don't think about the plumbing until something goes wrong,
right.
you know, but when it works and when things are in place and stuff, you know, um, and even the work behind it, how many unsung heroes do we have, and how much credit are they not receiving, you know,
Right.
and how much credit are we not giving ourselves because of the value we're providing, you know, and this, so thank you for sharing that story. I love that. You know, I grew up in a similar kind of background and stuff, and being able to take pride in that. It's like, yeah, my daddy did that when I was
Oh
young,
yeah.
kind of thing, and you know, just that sense of accomplishment, that
Oh
sense
yeah.
of pride of work, of ownership, kind of thing. So I
Definitely.
love that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Where can people find you and reach out to you? You got a coaching call you provide. You've got all these fabulous programs and stuff. Where can people learn more about that?
Just you can find me on Facebook at Bonnie S Hardie, or you can find me on my email. I'm working on getting a website going, but my email is bonniehardy@yahoo.com. BONNIEHARDIE at yahoo.com. Or if you look at Bonnie S Hardy, BONNIESHARDIE, and they can contact me and tell me they saw me on your show, Kenny, and ask me any questions that they want to ask me. They want to work with me further. They want to know about my 5x5 film at your rocks all the day, vision for your program, my podcast guest coaching program. They just want to talk about whatever. Let them just contact me and we'll get it all figured out. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I've loved having you on, and we could talk about this for the rest of the day and then some and stuff. So I definitely want to take this conversation online and then have you back on in the future. But thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for helping others to say bon voyage to the shackles in their mind. Every time I say that, I'm gonna think of like being on a cruise ship where everybody's bye.
Yeah, I'm Bonnie Bon Voyage and stuff and cruise ships, so that's what I hate. Say Bon Voyage, and then you're saying goodbye. So you're saying goodbye to the shackles in your mind to stop you from living your best life. So I'm not sure how I came up with that, but I do want to leave you with one thing really quick. I made like a little meme for the word mindset using the first letters of the word mindset, and it's mindset is knowledge during setbacks. Everything is terrific. Again, that's mindset is knowledge during setbacks. Everything is terrific. So appreciate what you do have. Don't dwell on what you don't have. Stay rock solid and live your dream life.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. Again, thank you for being here, and everyone tuning in and watching this in the future. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. You know, reach out to Bonnie. You know, if you need help removing shackles in your mind, reach out so you could say bon voyage for those. And as always, remember to live your passion, fulfill your purpose, and explore those possibilities.